It is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. This is Baseball Today. That is my man T. Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, joining you from Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of the NFL Scouting Combine, where I'll be on NFL Network for the next 4 nights. Super excited. We get going with the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the tight ends today, and then we continue on through the rest of the offense tomorrow, defense Saturday and Sunday. Oh, welcome to my hotel.
It looks nice. I feel like I've stayed at that hotel before.
When
Downtown
would you have done that?
Indiana AAA ball, baby.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
You know, the only time, this is kind of a sad story, actually. The only time I've ever drank alcohol because I was feeling pain was in Indianapolis. Someone got called up. I should have got called up. I didn't get called up. I was so mad. I went and drank at some TGI Fridays there. Ooh. So the only time in my life that's ever happened, and never happened again because that was dumb.
We've all had those stories. Not because
Indianapolis, though, always had that spot in my heart.
Well, mine wasn't too far away. Mine was about 100 and whatever miles away in Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, I was going through some stuff. And yeah.
That's not a good way to do things.
Nope.
Bad way.
We are not condoning it at all.
Come listen to our show. We'll make you smile.
Nope. But we've all had those stories. So, it'll be a fun-filled next few days. We got some big days here in John Boy Media. The Blitzball battle for $10,000 continues tonight.
Yes, it's getting. I think my game does come out tonight. It's us versus the Shea Station guy. So Jerry on the hill, dude. It's kind of not fair, having him on the hill. So hopefully people enjoy the game. Winner of this faces Baggage. Yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's good stuff. We continue on there in the winners bracket. Should be good. Now, we've gotten some comments because we've run through 5 of the 6 division previews because we know at some point baseball will start. We have not gotten to the AL West, and we will. I promise you, people are holding on for that one. We want to get back to that, but this is the first show since we found out that the cancellation of the first 2 series of games has happened, and so we have to talk about that a little bit. Where's your headspace right now with what's going on?
I go back and forth. Everything that I've been told and, everything I've been a part of for the last, 5 years, when I was a player listening to these meetings, makes me believe that everything is pretty grim now. And the players are dug in and the owners are going to wait it out because they think they can eventually break the players. And then another part of me says, look, we're already meeting again in New York today. There's an informal meeting. So that's good. I don't think either spot really wants to be in this predicament where there is no baseball. I think both sides do want baseball, despite what some people have been saying that owners can miss 25 games and that's their goal. Maybe it is. I really hope that's not the case. So I go back and forth. I say today I'm leaning a little bit on more of the optimistic side just because there's meetings going on. I want baseball to be back. I'm a fan now. We have a lot of stuff going on that revolves around baseball. So selfishly, I want it back. I'm with the players and I stand with them and what they are doing. So I think it's important for the future generations of baseball players. But today I'm optimistic. I think that we can get a deal done here. We might miss a few series. I think we're still playing 162. That's in my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you listen to the league, that's not happening and they're cutting pay for the players. And that's kind of their goal is to make sure that the players understand you will not recoup that money. And so we'll see how long you can outlast.
And then they won't get expanded playoffs.
I understand all that. I understand all the negotiations. To me, and I talked to Trevor May right after Rob Manfred's press conference. And I said, I have a feeling that it's not happening until the second week of May. And Trevor is I think probably more on the pessimistic side of players that I talk to. He says, I don't think it's getting that far. He said, I believe we're going to be on the field sometime in April. So I'm happy to hear that out of a player's mouth. With all that being said, the thing that disappoints me, I believe the most. When was the last time you heard either the league office or an ownership group talk about how wonderful the game is, how great the players are? I haven't heard it. it. And so, listen, in the other job that I've got in the NFL, you hear Jerry Jones effusive of praise of his players and how much he loves his organization. And you hear it from Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, that's front and center. And you hear it from Giants ownership about how we've screwed up, but we want to get this right for you guys out there. Where have the owners been? Where have the owners been? They let Rob Manfred take all the bullets, and that's fine. That's what you pay him. I don't know if it's $18 million a year, whatever Rob makes.
It's 11.
That's what you pay him for. I think it's more than that. But whatever it is, that's what they pay him for. But if you are an owner and your product, the players are your product. I've told you this countless times, Plouffe. I've never gone to a game to go watch an owner own. Not once. Not once. I go to watch players play sports. So if you're an owner, you know ultimately you need those guys. You want them to feel good about who you are as an ownership and what you stand for. And just once, I'd like to see an owner come out and say, you know what? I'm pissed off that we don't have this done because I love my players. I understand that we're fighting. We're on opposite sides of things, but I do love them. And I want them to do the best job for us, our organization, our city, our community that we represent. When are we going to hear that?
I would love to hear that. And I will say this. I think I've heard that many times from owners. It just hasn't happened
Publicly?
lately. Yeah, publicly, regionally, you're going to hear it more, from, owners getting interviewed by certain newspapers, like regional newspapers and stuff like that. I've heard praise from owners before, 100%. Lately, no, I haven't, Chris. You're totally right about that. During a lockout, during, a time where we're canceling games. Yes, I would like to see some owners' faces out there saying, we don't want this either. We're trying to fix this. I don't understand why they don't do that. They are letting Manfred, that's kind of his job, is to be the punching bag, basically. So they're letting him do that. But I agree with you. They should be a little bit more front and center now. If I was an owner, I would do that 100%. But I won't go as far as saying they never do that, because we've had Brewers owner Mark Attanasio on, and all he talked about was how much he loved his players and stuff like that.
There's
but
no
now they
question.
are missing.
This is the time to do it.
This is the time.
Because that's what I'm talking about. And yes, you're right about Mark. He has done it. And I have heard some guys, but not lately. And right now, dude, I'm in the middle of this NFL scouting combine. Everybody is looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with baseball? What is going on? And my buddy Ross Tucker, with whom I work, he spent, about a half dozen years in the NFL as an offensive lineman. Really smart guy, went to Princeton. He had a really interesting tweet the other day. He said, could you imagine if the NFL canceled games? This country would come to a grinding halt. In baseball, it's like, they canceled 6 games for each team.
Well, obviously, there's a reason that matters less in MLB, because we play 162. So that's not a great comparison. I think people really do care about the sport. I know it's funny to say now baseball sucks. It's whack. It's dying. Football's taking over. Football's the national pastime. No, it's not. Baseball's been around for a long time. People really love baseball. I go to a youth sports field a lot of days during the week. It is packed. You can't even get a time in the cages there. Baseball is here, and it's here to stay. We got to get back on the field. Just got to find a way to get back on the field.
We continue to have these issues in 2020 in the midst of a pandemic, which we hadn't had for 102 years. We have the sides arguing about when we can start, and the owners only wanted to play 60 games. And that's all our fans have been inundated with. And it just pisses me off. I guess we're being part of the problem because we're still discussing it, but we have to. We have to, because that's the news of the day.
I agree.
All right, quickly, let's move on. Mike Trout, who rarely says anything, came out with an Instagram post the other day saying, we want to play. Rob canceled games. We still love you. Other players were not as diplomatic. Do you think that it's good that players are taking to social media during this time?
I think so. 100%. There's a lot of things. Jimmy talked about this yesterday. In 94, there was no social media, anything like that. The owners really controlled the narrative, and they basically had the public opinion on their side at that point. And then, whatever court came in and ruled against the owners and ruled for the players. I remember Paul Molitor talking to me about how they got caught for collusion. I mean, So there is power to that, to having the players saying, like, this is our side of the story. This is what we think is going on. So there's power now. And I think really, if you're a baseball fan, you're most likely on the player's side. If you're just a casual sports fan, you're on nobody's side. You're just pissed that there's no baseball. So I think it's a good thing. It's okay to express yourselves. We always talk about branding and wanting to, get guys' personalities shining in the sport. This is one way to do it. And, Mike Trout, not a big social media guy. So when he says something, everyone listens. Everybody reposted his quote that you just had right there. I thought it was pretty cool to see people just rally around. I mean, he is, if you play baseball, it's Mike Trout and then the rest of the group. That's just bottom line right now. Okay. Even the Jacob deGroms. I love Jacob deGrom. I think he's one of the all-time greats as well, but Mike Trout's the king right now. So when he says something, I thought it was cool to see everyone just back him up and repost.
I think it's great. That social media, whether we like it or don't at times, and we all kind of fluctuate between the two, it is the conduit between player and fan. Never before had there been a wall broken down where you can have a conversation on social media with your favorite athletes. So I'm all for it. Would I tell some guys to kind of watch? I have a rule personally. Maybe it's because I'm the dad of John Boy Media that I read each tweet that I put out 3 times. Now, sometimes I'm grammatically incorrect. The other day I was factually incorrect because I was a little fast with my trigger finger. I mean, it didn't hurt anybody. It was just a little off on the number of games we had played last year. But all right, so that happens. But end of the day, I think it is good. And I think that's why, our company is important. Like on a couple of days here, we had Miguel Rojas talking about his feelings about Derek Jeter shocking the organization and leaving. The next day we had Trevor May right after Rob Manfred spoke. That's how you guys can get connected. And I'm not going to begrudge my former employer, but the fact that they cut out from the players union press conference says a lot. Yeah. And I thought that was really shitty. And so if this is the only way we can hear the voice of the player, then I'm all for it.
The voice of the players here to stay. I mean, there's just too many platforms now. We're a platform for them. They have their own platforms. Everyone's creating their own way to communicate with the fans because it's important. I mean, when you're a baseball player, it's part of the job. It can be part. It doesn't have to be part of the job. And that's why when people get on Mike Trout about not being on social media, it's like, dude, he's doing his job the way he wants to do his job. And guess what? Probably the one of, if not the best to ever do it. So let the guy do his thing.
Right.
I like getting things from all sides. I don't like just hearing one side. So yeah, I love that the players are able to have their side now. I wish the owners would get involved more. I think it's one reason people love Mark Cuban. Like, he's accessible.
Absolutely. 1,000%. And he's turned that into another career with Shark Tank. I mean,
100%.
Right? So
100%.
They wouldn't have known who he was if he was just an NBA owner.
I mean, Jerry Jones the same way. Like, love him or hate him, the guy's, been accessible. He's front and center, and people, I mean, you ask people about the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to name Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Jerry Jones is going to be in there. They're going to talk about him.
Absolutely. Totally. People ask a lot of the time, hey, Chris, why don't you give the owner side of things on Rose rotation? They won't come on, guys. I've asked. They will not come on. I haven't asked all 30. I've asked a few. I've written to teams and they say, well, they're not talking right now. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all I can do is, I can't. So if y'all want to tweet at somebody.
Do they even have Twitters?
Some do.
Who?
Is Steve Cohen still on Twitter, or did he back out?
I'm not really sure. Uncle Steve would be great on the Rose rotation.
I would love to have him on.
He's probably pissed. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, of course he is.
I don't know the ins and outs of the owner's side, but a guy like Steve Cohen, who, by the way, I mean, like, I'm not going to shower this guy with praise because
right. There's other,
whatever. There's things in his past that I don't like, but he did come into the league and he's ready to make his team competitive. And he's going to get hamstrung by, these 8 small market owners. I bet he's not happy.
Well, that's the problem, is that we know what the players are fighting for, and they're fighting for it as a group. Hey, Max Scherzer's good. He's at the end of his career. He's going to make over $40 million. The reason he's willing to forfeit all that money is for the young guys. and the guys who will be playing over the next several years. And so they're all kind of rowing in the same boat. The same cannot be said for the owners. And that's why it's tricky on ownership side. So that's when everybody wants to throw a shit pie in Rob Manfred's face. You have to be careful with that a little bit because he's trying to please maybe, I don't know how many different factions.
You can throw the pie in his face. Okay. People tell baseball players this all the time. You signed up for it.
Here's what I'm saying is that when it comes to the decision of ultimate, imagine how hard it is to get
I know
all those people to just, row the same direction.
It's impossible. But again, he's just a messenger, basically.
That's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Bad messenger.
Very quickly on this. What's your gut tell you over the next few days or weeks?
I just said I think we still get 162. So we got to figure something out quickly. I'm still optimistic. I really am. Even though everybody I talk to that's on the player side is basically who I talk to, not as optimistic as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my gut still tells me that within, let's see, March 5th, you give me 2 weeks. I could see us having a deal in 2 weeks. And that's nothing that I've heard from the players. I want to reiterate that. I have not heard that from anybody. That's just my gut. You? 2 weeks.
What are we on? March 3rd? I think we have an agreement. I think we have one, by March 20th. Yep.
Okay, a little over 2 weeks for you. March 20th is a Sunday. Okay.
I said by March 20th. I'm giving you 2.5 weeks.
And then we have 4 weeks for spring training. So
that's
it puts it at 420. Thing. You called it.
420.
You called it. Let's go. I would love it. We're not getting 162 if April 20th, though. We're not.
No.
We'll get 150 in.
See, I don't think we are getting 162.
We'll get 150 in then.
I think if we're in by late April, I think that will appease. I think some of the colder, small market, Midwestern, Northeastern teams are willing to sacrifice those games because once again, they don't open the books, but I imagine that it probably costs them more money to open the gates on some of those days than it,
sure.
Right.
Sure. You know what I hope happens? I hope they take care of all the concession workers in the stadium for missing the games.
Oh,
that better happen. That better happen.
I'm so sad for those people. I am so sad.
People rely on that.
I tweeted that. I said, I'm sad for people who rely on baseball that aren't a part of these negotiations because they have no say. And
I hope there's spring training at the spring training facilities. I don't want any of this. Go to your city and do it yourself. Have inter squad. I do not want that.
No. And I also feel for all the people who love spring training, who plan their yearly vacation around it. I know we love it because we love getting out there and we're going regardless. We're gonna have content out there coming up. Yeah, I hear you, brother. We'll be out there soon enough. But I feel for the people who live in Minnesota, in Cleveland, in Chicago, in Philly, that plan time to go down to either Florida or Arizona, make their week-long, yearly vacation. Maybe they want to see their kids, the grandkids, whatever it is. I feel for those people. I do. I hope they still go. I hope you guys still go. Go down, enjoy Sedona, or go to, what's the beach? Sanibel Island or something like that. Go get your vacation in. I think everyone needs vacations. Oh, yeah, of course. You're in Indianapolis right now. What a beautiful. I'm with you. By the way, look at this. Made my bed for you. Yeah. The two bed thing's interesting. I would do that sometimes. One to lay on and mess around in, one to sleep in. Okay, hold on. Let me the other one's not as clean. See there. Oh, yeah, you got it. Yeah, I've got one is like my workspace and one is my sleep space. I will tell you this: if Michelle were on the trip, it'd be just one bed, just one big old king. I don't mind this, whatever we got going on here. Not going to complain about it. Last one, quickly. High school ranks. We saw a couple of huge homers from big-time prospects. Drew Jones, of course, Andrew Jones' son. You heard the old overrated chant, and then he goes, dead center. And then Bryce Rayner, who is the top player in the 2024 class, ends up bat flipping all the way almost at first base. He plays for Harvard Westlake, plays for Giolito and Flaherty and Fried all went. And I think he did it against Notre Dame, which was Giancarlo Stanton's high school, by the way. He's just a sophomore. So which one was more appealing to you?
Well, I think for most people, the Drew Jones one, because you're hearing these slapdicks say overrated. Like, what a bunch of dorks doing that. Come on, man.
Well,
overrated. Okay, go ahead.
Those are stupid high school. I've got a
Yeah.
kid that's in high school. They're all
Brady
dumb at
would
that
not
age.
be doing that. Brady would
No.
never do that.
Not true. Well, you're right, actually, because he just went to a basketball game for our school against Sierra Canyon, LeBron's kid. And he's like, yeah, everybody was chanting overrated. I was like, okay, were you? He's like, no, not really. Like,
look, it's okay if you do. I did it to Sean Burrows. I'm pretty sure I told this story on the podcast or the show. I heckled him. I was a slapdick. These kids are slapdicks. So I like that Drew Jones answered it. High heater too to dead central was nice. And I guess the same thing happened at Harvard Westlake because our guy, Jack Flaherty, came to defend the video that everyone was going at, saying, oh, he can't be bat flipping, respect the game, blah, blah, blah. Apparently there were some things said. And it was so it's the same thing. He's just saying, you know what, you want to talk that talk. I'm about to walk the walk, and how are you going to handle it? So I love both of them. Love it.
I'm good with it. I'm good with what Bryce Rayner did. If you hit a ball 450 feet, go for it. You want to go do the Pedro Cerrado thing where you're carrying the bat around? Go do that. And people are like, well, he's going to get hit next time. I want to let everybody know, Bryce Rayner, he's not pitching right now. I think he's a little dinged up. He was throwing 95 as a freshman. So if you want to throw at him, just make sure, because he's going to get back on that mound. So go for it, bro.
Yeah. And you know what? People need to chill out. I'll tell you this straight up. I don't like it. You
don't like the bat flip?
I don't like it. But you know what? I'm going to let him do it because it's the next generation's time. Like this is what he wants to do with the game. All I can do, and this veterans need to hear this shit out. All you can do as a veteran is impart your wisdom to the next generation, and then it's their game. It's their game. People used to say that Elvis was the devil. Elvis is a freaking Care Bear, bro. Things change. Things change. It's the next generation. It's going to be their game. So impart your wisdom and then get out the way. Let these kids play ball. You don't have to like it. I don't like it, but I'm going to let them do it because this is the way that they want to play baseball. They've learned from us. That's what
I loved it. I'm way older than you are, and I loved it. I'm like, now, if it were my kid, if that were Brady that did that, hit it 450. First of all, I'd be like, yo, bro, you just crushed one 450. I'd be like, go for it. You should be doing backflips around the diamond. Let's go, dude. I mean, would we have a talk about it? I guess. All we would discuss was why. I wouldn't crush him for it. I would want to hear his thoughts about it, to be honest with you.
So I want to make that clear. I'm okay with it. Like if you're answering the call and like someone's talking crap to you and you do, then I love it. But if that's like your normal shit to do, I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference there. But again, I'm okay with him doing it because this is the way he wants to play the game, and you got to get out of the way.
Yeah. All right. What do you have coming up on John Boy Media, my man?
Dude, we had talking baseball. What is it? What's today? We were talking baseball yesterday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Somber pod. I'm off until Monday again, where I believe Jack Flaherty is going to be joining us on Talking Baseball for a little bit, talking about that home run we just did, and then his feelings on everything and where he's at. So check that out, man. What about you?
About to tape a podcast with Stephen Brault. I haven't heard from him in a while. He actually spent a lot of time here in Indianapolis because it's a Pirates minor league affiliate. And so I'm sure he has some good stories about Indy. Well, he's a guy who's really affected by this lockout. Remember, he got DFA'd, non-tendered by the Pirates. So he doesn't have a home. He's going to have to find one quickly. It's been a few months since we talked to Steven, so we're going to kind of see where his headspace is with all of this. And we'll have the usual fun because Brault can talk about anything. So
yeah, I like him.
In fact, I should ask him about the crossbow in the shorts video. He'd be a good one on that one.
That's awesome. Well, enjoy the combine, dude. What's your favorite part of the combine?
I love watching the wide receivers do their thing. They're up first tonight.
Drake London going to be there?
Drake London is here. He will not be partaking. He is one of the top receivers in the class for
Yeah.
people that don't
He doesn't
know
need to do
about
anything.
him
That guy
at
is
USC. He's a freak. He's a freak. He's got a basketball background too. He played a couple of games with the Trojans, but he can jump out of the gym. Yeah. He's coming back from a broken ankle, so that's why he's not doing anything. But there's some really, really good wide receivers in this class. There's not a Jamar Chase type in year one, but there's a couple of guys. And Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, I think, is the best one. He's like a Justin Jefferson type, can do just about everything. And then there's a kid named Treylon Burks for Arkansas, who's just a monster. He's like 6'3.5", 225. He can just run.
Love that.
So it's gonna be fun. It's always fun. And other than that, I don't know. Looking forward to seeing you in a little bit.
Yeah, man. Next week, right?
Yeah, it'll be next week where I see it. But we got a couple of podcasts to take care of. So we'll see you next Tuesday for everybody. Special shout out to our producer extraordinaire, the headband wearing Dan Rourke. For T. Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. Thanks for joining us here on Baseball Today.